Okay, so I heard the announcement. Hopefully everybody else did too. And Phil, I'll turn it over to you. Oh, let me share my screen. That would be
Yeah,
good,
go
wouldn't
ahead,
it?
share your screen and pop up the agenda, and then we'll go from there. But I want to introduce myself. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Phil Belcher. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Healthcare 21. And on behalf of myself and Christy Travis of the Memphis Business Group on Health, we'd like to thank you for joining session 2, really, of a series that maybe you participated in a couple of weeks ago called The Wait is Over. You may be on the line and be a member of Healthcare 21, an employer member, so welcome to you. You may be an employer member of the Memphis Business Group on Health, and welcome to you. Or you may actually be a guest employer that we invited to the event. In any case, welcome to you and thanks for joining. So in session 1, we discussed the growing epidemic of obesity and the chronic conditions that arise as a result, and especially diabetes. So today, as you look at the agenda, we're going to do a deep dive into one of the most effective intervention programs to reduce the risk of obesity and diabetes. And so later we'll introduce Lisa from the Tennessee Department of Health, and then Ms. Paige Turner from the state of Tennessee to talk about their program. And then Christy and I will come back in the end for next steps. So next slide, please. So before we get into our presentation today, I do want to share a couple of slides from the most recent health data from the CDC regarding Tennessee. And, really you can see from this slide that we have an unbelievably alarming growing epidemic of overweight and obesity. About now 70% of those in Tennessee are either overweight or obese, and that's as high as it's ever been. And you can also see how we compare to the US. So really an alarming trend. Next slide, please. So, with those who are overweight and obese, obviously there's a risk of other serious chronic conditions. And I've highlighted the one that we're going to talk about today. Type 2 diabetes is certainly one of those comorbidities that you often see with individuals who are overweight or obese, and they have an increased risk for that. Next slide. So here are our rankings with other states, and I'll go ahead and tell you right now, normally the higher number wins, but in this case, it does not. We are 45th in the US in obesity, folks who are obese, and 47th with folks who have diabetes. So why is this important to you as an employer? One, you already have a lot of employees who unfortunately fit this demographic and are part of this statistic. But also what's alarming is the fact that this is, you get your folks for your future hires come from this population of folks who have these chronic conditions. And so, it's very important that we talk about how we can manage those. Next slide. So this just tells you the rise in obesity over time. And again, we've already talked about it. It's an alarming trend. Next slide. And I wanted to share as well the information on diabetes and just the fact that, it is obvious to see with the rise in folks who are overweight and obese. It's no surprise that we also have an increase in the number of individuals who present with type 2 diabetes in our state as well. Next slide, please. And so this is my last slide, but I just wanted to let you know that today we are going to highlight one of the programs that we're partnering with the state of Tennessee on, and that's the National Diabetes Prevention Program. And this program is not only available for you as employers to offer your employees through other vendors, your health plans, but also the state of Tennessee is very much behind this program and has outlets throughout the state that you can participate in. And so I just wanted to highlight that this is really an ongoing effort, and one of Tennessee's major initiatives is to have this program available to fight diabetes. So now I want to turn it over to Christy Travis at the Memphis Business Group on Health, and she's going to take us through our next slides.
Thank you so much, Phil. Both Memphis Business Group and Healthcare 21 are really excited that we have been awarded a grant through the National Association of Chronic Disease Directors to work in partnership with the Tennessee Department of Health to really encourage and increase employer adoption of this National Diabetes Prevention Program across the state. Our goal may sound somewhat small, but we really do want to recruit at least 1 to 3 new employers to offer the National Diabetes Prevention Program. And we also want to work with those of you who already offer it to help your program be more effective, and also to increase the participation in your programs. So we have 3 major strategies, and you all will learn more about this as we progress through this project. We have 3 major strategies. We're going to be working, and this webinar is the first in a series to increase awareness and understanding of the program itself. And you'll hear more about the fact that we're going to have a webinar probably next February that will actually get into how you go about evaluating whether this program is something that will work for your employees, and then implementation. And of course, you can't do anything these days without a social media campaign. So we will be giving you all resources through blogs, through our website, through newsletters, and other social media outlets. We do need to take an evaluation of the market characteristics and readiness for employers to adopt this program. You will be invited to fill out an employer market assessment survey in January, and we encourage you to please complete that so that we get an understanding for where employers are in the state around this program. And you can see we'll also be interviewing some employers as well as major health plans around barriers and issues, and then how they offer this program. And then finally, Healthcare 21 and Memphis Business Group on Health are here to support you as the employers throughout this entire journey together. We'll be convening you together because we know you enjoy learning from each other. There is also a national resource for peer-to-peer networking, and also with experts. One of the best benefits of this project is that we will be providing some one-on-one technical assistance with you all, and also looking at that employer market assessment and how we can use it as an audit tool for those of you that already offer the program. So we're going to be sending out these slides, but you as participating in this project will get access to new tools and resources. You'll have assistance from experts, and these are a lot of acronyms here, but let me just assure you, the Tennessee Department of Health, the National Association of Chronic Disease Directors, the CDC, peers, and MBGH and Healthcare 21 are really concentrating our efforts to provide you with that technical assistance. And you'll have a better understanding for the channels that you can use to actually implement the program. One last slide before we get started is to really put how the National Diabetes Prevention Program fits within the continuum for addressing obesity. And Phil did a great job in the opening remarks to create this sense of urgency for us. We know that there are 3 primary treatment approaches for those that are overweight or have obesity. One is lifestyle management and behavioral therapy. That's really needed across the entire spectrum, regardless of your BMI category. Another is pharmacotherapy, which kind of kicks in with comorbidities around 27 BMI, but is really an option at 30. And then surgery, which is an option at 35. with comorbidities, or 40 if you have none. What we are excited about is that the National Diabetes Prevention Program is a proven option in the lifestyle management category. And we have always emphasized with our members to have programs that are evidence-based and that have proven effectiveness, because your investment is much more likely to pay off in terms of improved health as well as financial returns. So we just wanted you to kind of think about how this program fits within a comprehensive strategy for addressing obesity in your workforce. So we are going to have a quick polling question because we thought that it would be important for our speakers today and for us overall to understand where you are relative to this program already. So click the link that Phil has put in chat, or you can go to the website that I've put here, menti.com, and input the code. And we would really like to see whether you offer it, considered it, but not offering it currently, or have never even considered it. So thank you so much for answering our little poll. And Phil, I'm going to stop sharing so you can share the results.
Awesome. You might need to give me
thank you.
access.
Yeah, that might be helpful.
That's okay. Just let me know.
I've done it.
All right, let's see. All right, I see the votes coming in. Awesome.
Well, this is great. We have got exactly what we anticipated, a full range of employers relative to this program. 40% of you all are currently offering it. 40% have considered it, and we're really excited that you're back to learn more about it. And 20% of you have never considered it. So this program is project is really organized in a way to help meet the needs of all three of these types of employers. So if you'll stop sharing and I'll start sharing again. I would like to introduce that we're going to move right away to Lisa. And I apologize. Oh, good. It did come back here. I was afraid I was going to have to start at the beginning. It looked like at the beginning, but I want to introduce Lisa Kosak, who's the Program Director 2 for Family Health and Wellness and Chronic Disease Prevention with the Tennessee Department of Health. And Lisa and her team are our partners, and we're their partners. And so I'm really excited to introduce Lisa. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Lisa.
Okay. Well, thank you, Christy, and thank you for having us here today in your meeting. And very excited to talk to you about pre-diabetes and the Diabetes Prevention Program, or DPP. Next slide, please. What we're going to cover today is a discussion of what pre-diabetes is and how it will affect your workforce, not if it will affect your workforce, but it will affect your workforce. What is the CDC recognized DPP program? Kind of a little high level overview of what it entails and how participants benefit, and how the CDC DPP benefits employers. And you as employers get the benefit in so many ways, but your employees benefit as well. And what you as an employer can do to offer the CDC DPP program. So before we talk about the program, thank you, Christy, let's talk about what pre-diabetes is. Pre-diabetes is a blood sugar level that's higher than normal, but it's not high enough to have a diagnosis of diabetes. And if you look at the right in this slide, you will see the A1C target levels, and you'll see what the normal levels are, and then the diabetes levels. And then right in the middle is where prediabetes falls. And that's your big red flag. That's your big red warning flag that folks diagnosed with prediabetes, if they don't do something now, they will go on to develop type 2 diabetes within 5 to 6 years. So it's real important to get those folks screened and tested and to allow them to do something to prevent that onset of type 2 diabetes. And according to the ADA guidelines, 2021 guidelines, the ADA is the American Diabetes Association, they suggest and recommend testing begin at age 45 for folks. But the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force also chimed in and said, because of the high rates of obesity and overweight in our country, their recommendation is to start testing folks at 35 years old. So to catch them even earlier for a diagnosis of prediabetes. And to show you the magnitude, if you take a look at this slide, I love this slide. It shows you just what you're dealing with. And if you look at this iceberg, the top of the iceberg shows you the actual diagnosed cases of diabetes. And that's 29.1 million, according to the CDC. That's diagnosed with diabetes. But if you look under that tip, you look below the surface, those are the people that you're trying to catch. Those are the people you're trying to identify, the 86 million folks across our country with prediabetes. Those are the folks that you can help delay or prevent getting a type 2 diabetes diagnosis. And that's what the DPP program is able to do for you. So let's talk about, what you're dealing with here as an employer and as a country. Diabetes, costliest disease in the US, 327 billion. Yes, that's a B in 2017. That's the most recent data we have. So you can imagine what the cost is now in 2021. And we know that diabetes comes with a lot of side effects, issues that folks deal with trying to control their diabetes, which can result in reduced productivity as an employee and increased absenteeism. The cost of care for people with diabetes, 2.3 times more you're paying to care for somebody with a diagnosed diabetes than someone who is not diagnosed with diabetes. And in 2017, medical expenditures, that's your healthcare costs, $16,750 per person. So think about how many employees you have, how many of them have diabetes. That's what you're paying. That's what the average amount of cost to treat and manage someone with diagnosed diabetes. And an interesting a statistic is that diabetes doubles the risk of physical disability in older adults, which can be very stressful. Something to think about, that if they can't maintain their independence at an older age, then there's other medical issues to deal with. Type 2 diabetes is mostly preventable. That's the key. Type 2 can be prevented. Next slide.
Sorry, I had to let somebody in.
Okay.
Here you go.
And one of the ways you can kind of look at how you can grab those folks with prediabetes and delay or prevent that onset of type 2 diabetes is the National Diabetes Prevention Program. It's a program. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
It's a program that the CDC oversees. It's a structured program. It's got specific curriculum, which we'll talk about in a minute. It's conducted by trained personnel. It has ways to deliver it that you can look at as an employer, which would benefit your employees the most. And one of the most important things is that CDC makes sure that it maintains its quality and effectiveness by having standards that these programs have to abide by. So next slide. And what the research has found when they first started or first looked into this program is that the DPP lifestyle change program prevents or delays type 2 diabetes by 58%. That's over half of the participants that throughout this program, over half of them do not go on and develop type 2 diabetes. And what's very interesting, that it's even more successful in folks who are 60 years and older by reducing their risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 71%. So let's talk about the science behind DPP. Next slide. The DPP research study, the initial research study showed that folks who participated and successfully completed the program cut their risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 58%, and then 71% for folks 60 and older. And the reason behind it is this program helps people lose 5 to 7% of their body weight. And they learn skills and they learn behaviors and they learn what triggers them in this program to lose that 5 to 7% body weight. And it really focuses a lot on physical activity. One of the biggest ways you can lose weight, proper diet and physical activity. There was also a research study conducted after the initial study to take a look at those folks who successfully completed the program initially, and they were still 27% less likely to go on and develop type 2 diabetes. That's huge because they learned the skills and the behaviors and maintain those behaviors after a period of time. And CDC recognizes DPP lifestyle change programs, and they make sure that those programs meet the Diabetes Prevention Recognition Program standards. We call them the DPRP standards. And they maintain these standards so that over and over, every time this program gets implemented and conducted, the same results happen. Again, following that curriculum, trained lifestyle coach, and also these DPP CDC recognized programs have to submit data to the CDC that shows the CDC that indeed the participants are losing weight. They are getting their BMIs lowered. So they have to make sure that they submit that data to the CDC on a regular basis. So next slide, please. Some of the features, some of the things around the DPP program. It's a full year program and you get a full year of support. It can be offered at the community level and the employer level, and it's very cost effective. And what I mean by that is the average cost per person for enrollment in a DPP program is about $500. That's average. And so if you remember, $16,750 per person to treat their diabetes diagnosis, as opposed to $500 per person to enroll in this prevention program. The CDC also has an approved curriculum, and it's available in English and Spanish, and it has quality assurance via the DPRP standards. Okay, next slide, please. In regards to the full year program, it maintains quality and fidelity because it's founded in science. It's based on scientific evidence of those initial studies and the follow-up studies. The DPP also maintains a registry on their website that shows where the DPP programs are in your area. You can just go on that website and type in your state, and you can even type in your zip code and find a DPP program available to enroll in. The CDC and other folks like us provide technical assistance to DPP organizations and the staff involved in delivery of this program to help them make sure that they're maintaining and achieving that recognition status. And when you talk about the DPP year-long program, it's divided into two parts, the core phase and the maintenance phase. The core phase is the first 6 months of the program. And the first 6 months are weekly sessions. And these folks learn about all kinds of things from healthy eating, how to increase their physical activity in their lives, dealing with stress, coping with the challenges and barriers that they might run into when they're trying to increase physical activity and learning how to eat better. In the maintenance phase, these sessions are done monthly. And all those participants who learn their skills in the first 6 months make sure that they're maintaining the progress, they're maintaining their successes, and they get that support within this program to help them stay motivated and to help them keep on track of achieving the goals they set within this program. So next slide, please. The DPP program can be delivered in multiple modalities. Initially, when this program started, it was an in-person program. You are in a classroom or a classroom-like setting, and you had your lifestyle coach there, and you had your other participants. It was like going to school. It was like a classroom. So you had your support group right there with you. You can actually reach out and touch them. And your coach was there as well. And now what COVID has allowed us to do, has allowed the CDC to do, is to be able to offer this program now virtually. And there's different methods to offer this program virtually. One is an online type of program where you log into the course sessions in your computer. You get interaction with a lifestyle coach periodically throughout your online sessions, and then just little emails and text messages, just kind of touch points from your coach to make sure that you're keeping on track and learning what you should be learning, and helping you overcome barriers and such. The other type of virtual delivery model is distance learning, and this is like what we're doing today. Actually live programming with a lifestyle coach being the host, if you will, and your participants are here just like having this Zoom meeting, and so they can see each other, they can still see each other and still talk with each other, but they can't reach out and touch that person in person, but they can still see the folks in the room. And also you can offer this program in a combination of any one of these models. You can do some online, you can do some in person, you can just develop it and put it together in a way that works best for you. And also, you know, obviously your employees who will be taking this program. So we know some employers, you know, they have shift work or stuff like they don't have necessarily 9 to 5 where they can have a time during the day to have an in-person class. So you can kind of take a look at the different options you have to deliver it and make it most attainable and folks in your employ able to participate. Next slide, please. In addition to the different delivery models, you have different payment models to have for your DPP program. Payers who cover the DPP or propose coverage of the DPP have reimbursement models in several different ways. You can have the traditional fee for service that you can have for each session, a percentage or a dollar amount per session to get reimbursed. You can also have milestones where that's how the reimbursement happens. I know this is very popular and the CDC likes this one because it helps make sure that these folks attend most of the sessions that they're supposed to attend. So if folks complete their first session, the fourth session, 9th and 16th sessions, you get reimbursed, that DPP gets reimbursed for meeting those milestones in regards to attendance. There's also performance-based reimbursement models, making sure that your participants are meeting those weight loss goals and weight loss maintenance goals. And also, again, just like the delivery model, you can mix these up and do what works for you as an employer and the DPP that you are looking to provide that service. So next slide, please. We can look at the curriculum that CDC adheres by. The first 6 months of the program is on the left, and the last 6 months of the program is on the right. And if you look at the curriculum, and again, everything, they have all the materials for the DPP that speak to each one of these topic areas. The lifestyle coach, knows how to facilitate discussions and talk about coping. But if you notice, a lot of it is about physical activity. And why is that? Because this whole program is about losing 5 to 7% of your body weight. And that means you got to get active. You got to get active, and you got to eat the correct, proper, healthier foods, because what goes in must come out, right? So whatever calories you're putting in, you need to burn off to maintain or get to that weight loss goal. So a lot of information about physical activity and a lot of information about nutrition. Next slide, please. In regards to the DPRP standards, again, the DPP program can use the CDC approved curriculum, which we just went over, to show you all the different sessions, or they can develop their own, which can include some of the approved curriculum, but they also, if they want to develop their own curriculum, they need to get it CDC approved before they can use it. So again, maintaining that quality and fidelity of the program. Once a provider who wants to implement a DPP, they apply for CDC recognition on the CDC website, and they need to begin to offer their program within 6 months of receiving CDC approval. The initial approval is referred to as pending approval by the CDC, and they call it pending because they want to see, they'll give you this pending approval, and they want to see after a full year of your program and submitting your data every 6 months that you were able to achieve those outcomes of 5 to 7% weight loss in your participants. So they hold you to those standards. The capacity and the commitment to deliver the program for at least a year. It's a time commitment, but again, the research has showed that it does take a year for people to learn to undo their unhealthy behaviors that they happen to have. We learn the behaviors that we have as adults for over a lifetime. So it doesn't just take a week or two to learn how to change those unhealthy behaviors into healthier ones. You need that year support to do that successfully. And also, again, to make sure that the DPP programs are keeping with the guidance and the guidelines. They submit data to the CDC. The CDC takes a look at it. And if they cannot meet those outcomes of the 5 to 7% weight loss goals or the attendance goals, the CDC will not continue to recognize them. And again, trained lifestyle coaches are the key to this program as well. These folks get trained. It used to be an in-person training to train a lifestyle coach to conduct a DPP. Now it's offered virtually. And so the virtual training is like over a 4-week period of time, but these coaches learn how to deal and be able to reach these participants and give them those skills and the confidences that they need to get to their goals of weight loss, and to make sure that they learn the coping skills that they need to meet and maintain those goals. And usually what the DPP program, in addition to the lifestyle coaches, is usually they have a program coordinator that kind of oversees a lot of the administrative piece to that program, like the data submission and the billing piece and that such. And the lifestyle coaches kind of just do that program for their participants. Next slide, please. And so remembering that iceberg that you saw at the beginning, the value of a DPP, if you look at this slide, the return on investment versus the value on investment, and they kind of go hand in hand. If you look at a medical expense for somebody who has a diagnosis of diabetes, you're talking thousands of dollars in any given year per person. Whereas like I said earlier, the initial average cost to implement a DPP for a participant, about $500. And so you look at putting that money at the front end will certainly reduce your costs of having those medical costs and healthcare costs for someone at the back end who goes on and develops diabetes. So in addition to just the medical cost savings and your workers' comp claims, they've also looked into that those get lowered as well. You have better performance by your employees. They have increased job satisfaction. They're healthier. They come to work and they are ready to work. They're more productive. You don't have high turnover rates. And not only for the employees that you have, but if you also include their spouses that can be covered for this program as well, they reduce that absenteeism and productivity or presenteeism because they're not running off to medical appointments all the time, whether for themselves or for their family members who have diabetes and don't have it under control. So this program all around, it helps your employees stay healthier. It helps reduce your medical care costs. It improves the productivity and the employee morale in your program. And it's really cost effective for you as an employer. Much rather spend a little bit of money on the front end to save a whole lot of money on the back end. So next slide, please. If you want more information. Oh my God, I'm ahead of myself. So what can you do as an employer if you're thinking about, wow, this is a good program based on what the Tennessee Department of Health just told you today and the CDC recognition and studies behind this program? Talk to your insurer. Talk to your health insurer who provides insurance for your employees. You're the person who can tell them whether or not, hey, we want this included and as part of our coverage for our employees. They may not necessarily let you know that they will offer this or do offer it. So it's okay to ask those insurers that cover your employees that you'd like to have this as a covered benefit for your employees. Take a look at the return on investment cost calculator, and I have the link there for you. You can type in, you can put in your employee or employer specific data, like the number of employees you have. And this cost calculator can calculate how much you will save as an employer if you implement this program based on your number of employees, and they take into consideration the percentage of them that might be at risk for diabetes. And consider offering this program at your work site. And we talked about the different delivery models, so it can work in any way, shape, or form. And the beauty of it is you can decide as an employer how you want it to look, okay? And also for those employers who have a diabetes prevention program in their county, we don't have actual homegrown or local DPPs in every single county, but some of your employers, depending on where you are in the state, you might have a DPP in your county. And certainly that's a program, it's a DPP program. You can reach out to them and say, hey, we'd like you to come and deliver this program. And a lot of them do offer distance learning as well. So you can have them help you get that program out to your employers as well. And so next slide. For more information, there's two great websites. The links there, there's a CDC, information on their website for employers and insurers. Get some questions answered if you have any, maybe get a little bit more information. And also the DPP coverage toolkit has great information there. It has tools that you can use as an employer to kind of look at how it can benefit, cost and benefit kind of things from that coverage toolkit website. And so next slide. I've given you a lot of information in a small amount of time, and I'm happy to take any questions from you if you have any.
I'm
And if
afraid.
anyone does have
Oh,
any
go on.
questions, you can post them on chat while we go through the rest of our agenda, or you can send emails to Christy or myself following the session. But Lisa, just want to thank you very much for this fantastic presentation and all the great information. And so we are going to move ahead in our agenda. And we thought what would be really, I guess, informative for you guys as employers, as we did the polling, you can see we have some who already offer, some who have thought about it but don't offer yet, and some who have never thought about it. We thought it would be great to have an employer spotlight today, someone who has successfully implemented this program. There's many modalities and ways to implement it, but I'm going to turn it over to the state of Tennessee, our employer member for HC21 and EBGH, and Ms. Paige Turner. Paige is the population health director for the state of Tennessee State Group Health Plan, and she oversees the statewide population health and EAP programs, which includes a primary population health program, weight management program, diabetes prevention program, the Working for a Healthier Tennessee initiative, as well as the employee assistance and work life programs. She's responsible for setting the strategic direction for all population health initiatives through the population health programs at the state of Tennessee. So it's my pleasure to turn it over to Paige Turner.
Thank you so much, Phil. Good morning, everyone. So just to kind of take you through, Christy, if you want to go ahead and go to the next slide, just our road to the diabetes prevention program. So we actually started sort of our alarm bells started going off in 2010 as we were looking at those. We know with diabetes and its progression, the complications that come along with that. And so we were noticing a pretty alarming trend with diabetes, specifically type 2 diabetes. And so we started addressing from a disease perspective, recognizing that our members probably were not getting the support that they needed to, to slow that progression of diabetes. But we also made a strategic decision that we wanted to get ahead of our members even being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And that's when we started looking at at how we might better address pre-diabetes. Lisa showed you that pretty alarming iceberg, which is such an amazing visual and really shows that, trying to get ahead is really one of the keys. So we started researching everything that we do. It has to be evidence-based. We have to have the ability to literally address every county in the state. Some folks might not be aware, but in addition to doing the benefits for state employees and the Board of Regent Schools and UT, we also have a local education and local government health plan that we're responsible for. So that's literally our plan members are in every state, and we know Tennessee is a pretty long state, and so not quite as easy to hit every single county. So and I feel like, and Christy, we've talked about this. This is kind of a full circle conversation. So our insurance committee approved us doing a pilot project We often pilot new programs just to get a sense for the efficacy. I mean, again, everything we do is evidence-based, but we want to make sure that it works for our members. So we actually, in 2013, which feels a lifetime ago, did a pilot project in partnership with Healthcare 21 and Memphis Business Group on Health. Had some pretty amazing results from that. All of the sessions were in person, as again, what you heard from Lisa, that's how the start of the program worked. We also have a health center in the Tennessee Tower in downtown Nashville. So we started, we got some folks on our team trained and started delivering that program in person. And we also did a project with the YMCA. Again, you can kind of see the evolution here of doing those in-person sessions. But what we recognized at the end of the day, our members, and again, you heard Lisa share this, we have members who work third shift. So really just having in-person sessions was not practical for us. So that's when our TPA partners, Cigna and Blue Cross Blue Shield, started offering the virtual diabetes prevention program. So that really has been our primary way that our members access the program. And COVID really sort of brought that point home. Our in-person class hasn't happened in 2 years. Not sure when we're going to bring it back, but having these virtual programs through Ramada and Livongo, we literally never skipped a beat in terms of being able to deliver these programs. We do some communication campaigns with them, and our members can sort of directly go through the process to determine eligibility and get enrolled pretty quickly. Christy, if you'll take me to the next slide. And just sharing some stats of the program. And again, I didn't pull anything from our in-person classes, so really just sharing Omada and Livongo. You can see the enrollment there, close to 3,000 members, or up almost 3,000 members since each one of those launched. The majority of our enrollment is female. We do have different, I would say one of the challenges is each one of these vendors do reporting a little bit differently. So it is a challenge to sort of have apples to apples comparison. But I will say that one of the things that we have noticed, and I'm sure Lisa can echo this as well, is if our members stick with the program, they have the results. So you can see there with the Livongo program, if our members stay in the program for at least 15 months, their weight loss is 4.5%. And we know that 5% is our goal. So personally, it's been a long road to get to where we are with literally every member having access to the DPP. And for us, we've just found that working through our TPAs, as Lisa mentioned, is the best road for us. And so I know I went through that really quickly, and down the road, we can talk about other ways that we're addressing diabetes. You all know that we do love a pilot, so we've been piloting some other initiatives as well, but certainly happy to answer any questions from an employer's perspective.
Well, thank you so much, Paige. I think your journey slide, I think really expresses the commitment that you all have had to really getting out in front of type 2 diabetes and helping employees to have the skills and the lifestyle that allows them not to convert to type 2. And I think the other piece about the journey is that, you've also kind of landed in a place that appears to be really practical from your workforce and how spread out it is. And it's how they work in terms of the virtual. I will just mention, I mentioned it earlier, we will be, as part of this project, Healthcare 21 and MBGH are going to be sitting down with Cigna and Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee and maybe other health plans as we become aware of how they offer NDPP, to understand how they really do offer it and how you can access it through Cigna and Blue Cross. We know that's easier for some people, some employers, because you already have a relationship that you can expand versus needing to go. But we also know that we have had employers in Tennessee that go direct to Omada or Livongo, or as Lisa spoke about earlier, are using the in-person at the work site approach and the distance learning. So that will be part of what we address during our project. So thank you so much, Paige. I think we could love to hear these testimonials. I don't know if you'd like to point out one of them that you might call our attention to, especially.
Yeah, so one of the things that we have been doing is gathering member feedback with all of our classes, whether it's the in-person or the virtual. And I think all of these particular testimonials that we've received are pretty impressive. But I do like the second one where it says the program is not only about losing weight, it's about a healthy lifestyle, making better choices and knowing how to make better choices. The plan and coach show you in small, manageable steps. And I really think that's the key. People are often overwhelmed when, we talk about losing weight, but sort of this, gradual progression through the program where they're learning new information in the beginning, sort of weekly, and then transitioning to monthly. It's just that practical making better choices and our members learning that this is really sort of a lifelong change that they need to make, and so have really appreciated the feedback that we've received from our members, and again with particularly with Livongo and Omada, talking about turnkey. They get that connected device, the scale and the tracker, and so not only is the program getting that feedback, but the member is seeing those changes along the way. So love getting feedback from our members about the value of the program.
Well, we focus so much on the value for the employer that we need to remind ourselves that the life-changing event of not becoming a type 2 diabetic is just what a gift, to help employees as people and their families to not become a diabetic. And that's why I love member testimonials, because their lives have changed. And I know that those of you on the phone feel that same way. It's not just for you as the employer, it's really for your employees. So thank you so much, Paige, for sharing that with us. I'm going to quickly go through the next steps because we're about at the end of our time. I think we have 2 minutes, but I do want to draw your attention to the National DPP Employer Network Collaborative. We're going to be convening employers across the state for you all to share with each other. But there's a wonderful national network that you are welcome to join, and we encourage you to do so. Peers sharing nationally, not just across Tennessee. They have some educational offerings, and you get recognized as a health innovator if you are a participant in this employer network collaborative. And I've joined it, and there was already a great presentation. I wasn't able to be there, but a colleague of ours from the Business Coalition in Philadelphia was actually going through a case study with one of their members. And so these are the opportunities that you will have by joining the collaborative. There's no cost, and you can participate at whatever level that you would like to. So we encourage you to do that. I've mentioned most of these next steps in the opening remarks, but we will be having a webinar in the first quarter of 2022 that will really kind of dig deeper into how you could actually evaluate if you want to offer the national DPP to your employees. And we're going to be talking about program implementation. I think the fact that we've got employers who have already implemented this program is critical, because we want to bring them together with those of you that are considering it or want to learn more. And that's a real benefit of us working together across the state through the coalitions, is to understand from those who've already done it, such as Paige, what they've learned along the way. We do encourage you to complete the employer market assessment survey in January, and you'll learn more about that. Please, if you would like to be considered for one of our employer interviews on issues and barriers, let me and Phil know. We may not be able to accommodate everybody, but we'd like to know if you would like that. It's really the beginning of the technical assistance that we will be providing to you. So please take advantage of that opportunity to have a focused conversation about what your issues and potential barriers are relative to this program. And then, as we said, join the employer network. And please, for any aspect of this project, don't hesitate to contact MBGH and Healthcare 21 along the way. So I'm going to turn it over to Phil for some closing comments.
Yeah, thanks, Christy. I think we're already over time, and I'll just echo what Christy said. Thanks again for your participation. Be on the lookout in the future for the date and the time that we do our second webinar. Also, in the series of The Wait is Over, we're going to have other webinars as well that you can take advantage of to talk about not only DPP, but other options in the lifestyle management system, as well as pharmacotherapy and surgery options. So those will be exciting for you as well. So we just appreciate your participation. And remember, we're here to help you. This is a great program. It's simple to understand, it's affordable, and you have you have a herd of resources at your disposal to help you either do a pilot or to implement this. And I think it's kind of unprecedented, all the help that you can get. So thanks again for joining us today. We hope that those of you that we don't talk to, hope you have a great holiday season, and we will be in touch with you soon. Thank you.